Hey everyone, welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
And I'm Jaime. Fuego!
We are here to do another patron-requested review. This one from who, Fuego?
Another one from Mikey Mnemonic.
That's only 3 today.
Yeah, I was going to say, our homie from across the pond, much love to you, and he has his own YouTube channel. So please, guys, if you get the chance, just search Mikey Mnemonic and go and subscribe and check out his reactions and insights about all kinds of awesomeness.
Part of why this one took so long, though, is I defy you to find this on any streaming service.
Yeah.
We had to just bite the bullet and buy the DVD, which, honestly, after watching it, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
The premise of the movie is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon with a vampire.
There's also zombies, too.
There's
zombies. There's
created by the vampire.
Apparently,
but
zombies turn into vampires.
It's
like
the zombie.
It's
a weird, convoluted mythology, but it was still interesting enough that Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, anything horror mixed up sounds interesting to me. So I was on board. Yeah. I gave it a try, and here's the thing. I think based on our tiny bit of pre-discussion about the movie, since you watched it, I think I like it for different reasons than you.
All right.
Yes. So we'll get into it, but let's talk about the overall thoughts, and that is, I enjoyed the movie for what it was, but I think they made some questionable decisions. I think that it was a very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon movie where people were dancing in trees and not like necessarily fighting the way a normal human would. I did very much like the idea behind the vampire, but their look of the vampire was cool, but it didn't evolve. It was the same through the whole movie, and I think it should have evolved.
Well, it was that master, you know.
Right. But B, I'm sorry, but a vampire that doesn't emote or move or act, it instead just floats and like just stands there and sucks in life essence, while the actual effect of the life essence being bloody really and everything cool. That looked cool, but the fact that the vampire never ever changed expressions, that bummed me out. So outside of that, though, I enjoyed the movie because it was completely different from any other horror movie that I've seen because of that Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon aspect. So I appreciate Mikey Mnemonic suggesting it, and I'm glad that I invested in a DVD as opposed to a crazy expensive Blu-ray import or something, because this was cheap and it was worth what I paid for it. I'm happy to add it to my DVD collection.
Yeah, nice,
for sure.
Nice. I wasn't blown away either, but I did honestly appreciate some of the goofiness amongst the camaraderie of all the guys who were like the different elements and stuff.
This is a coven of vampires. That's a stretch.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's only really that one scene where those guys who were going to rob the place where the wedding is transpiring, because that's, I mean, story-wise, I guess we will get into that at some particular point. There's not as much vampire-ness in this as you would really expect, and I think that was one of my biggest gripes.
A lot more focus on
I wanted it to be more horror and less about the
married stories,
the whole married story, and the groom gets killed, and then one of our
even before that, the married story is this woman that is of importance to one of the people hunting the vampire, is meant to marry this guy, and yet we find out that his last 5 brides have all died mysteriously.
And then even beyond that, she's marrying because, and this is us like shifting in the story essentially, but you know, I mean, her brother is the one asshole who was wanting to go and use her as a ploy to rob the rich family she's moving into, and it's just
the movie focuses a lot on that.
A lot on that, and a lot on just the multiple layers of all of the different, I don't know, characters that are. It's not as horror-centric, I suppose, as I was hoping that it would be. And those scenes, when they do come, they're enthralling and they're cool. And I do like the floaty, weird, mutated from a zombie to a vampire-ness. I thought that was kind of a strange way of going about it and explaining it mythology-wise, but I was willing to buy in. But yeah, beyond that interesting little like twist to the mythology of zombies and vampires and all of those predisposed aspects of silliness, I didn't really feel like it compelled me in its world building much beyond that, unfortunately, and it really relied so much more heavily on the dramatic aspect and the human aspect, when I wanted more, jumping around with trees and, just like this acrobatic awesomeness that, Crouching Tiger and so many of these Hong Kong films are notorious for. This didn't bring it just as frequently as I wanted it to, and that was one of the biggest problems, I guess, in the scripting and the storytelling. So
I could agree with that. With that. The storytelling was just kind of okay for me. I just couldn't get myself dialed into the marriage and the family and all that stuff, and which tied into the people involved later. That one guy is just super happy to have this one woman who's been off-cast by the family and stuff like that. It's like such a weird thing that I just didn't really buy into, but it was the effects and the fighting that I was really the most interested in. So I don't know, the acting was just okay to me. It didn't really stand out. It wasn't bad, but it didn't really stand out to me. For you?
Yeah, nothing that much as well. I mean, I did kind of like the little love story with the like bride who is suddenly widowed, like right off the bat, and then she's got the little chemistry going with. There was, it's one thing I have to remember, because of the fact that they did mention that they were like, land and wind and so on. It was like a very elemental aspect to the.
And then it became Gung Hei Fat Choi or whatever.
yeah, in a lot of ways. But our lead and maybe our most handsome one, he's the one who swoops in. But then there's also like kind of a handmaiden servant who has another little subplot love story with another one of the guys. So it's really the two younger, more handsome Asian guys in this duo that are this quartet that is trying to find their master, who has his run-in with the vampires initially, and they don't know where the hell he is, and they try to infiltrate this wedding and try to see what the hell is going on. They're the ones, the two better looking guys, they're the ones who get the leads, and the two older looking ones who are just kind of hanging around and more, I guess, just revered, respected, better skills, whoever the hell knows what else, they're kind of thrown by the wayside as far as that essence of character development. Those two guys don't get a lot to do in this as far as scenes beyond just working with the rest of the group. And then when they do finally meet the master, and when we do finally pick back up on the lead vampire, that's really as far as character acting of any compelling aspect and the extent of what we get. So yeah, what are you gonna say in that regard? Let's talk about the effects. The fighting effects and the actual vampire effects. I thought the vampire effects, while interesting at first, they wore thin because it was the same, the same vampire, no expression, all that stuff. That got a little bit grating, but the fighting was still cool and stuff. And just kind of,
and just inhaling. Like, that's not that scary to me.
It was almost like an inhalation of energy kind of thing, but
like a Dementor more than a vampire.
Truly, actually. I will say, where the marauder, like thieves, are trying to get to the wedding and they become afoul of the vampires. That's one of the only times where you really, even honestly, they give you the impression that there's more than one vampire there, but you still really only see the one major floaty guy, so it makes me think budget constraints, where you're just not trying to show much, and there is the whole underground aspect of the vampires too, which is interesting, and getting like sucked down and whatnot. Like the horses, for instance, are some of the first to be attacked in most of these scenes, and so everybody falls off, and it's really the only time that we see any extent of gore or just compelling violence, I guess. And so it was moderately interesting, but nothing that's gonna like turn the genre on its head. This was really a hodgepodge and a very interesting melding of a lot of different genres. I wouldn't necessarily say I would contend it's not successful with what it was trying to do, but I commend the ambitiousness of trying to put together all of these despondent, just themes and types of storytelling and stuff like that. And I mean, horror with that sort of Hong Kong, martial arts approach is kind of cool. We just didn't see enough of it.
Yeah, so. I agree. So I think that's as good a place as any to end this review. We're in the same place regarding all of that goes. So why don't you let us know in the comments down below what you think of Tsui Hark's Vampire Hunters? Have you seen it? Did you even know about it? Mikey, why do you like it so much? Let us know in those comments down below. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias up and Jaime Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.